everybody. Welcome to this week's client support webinar. My name is Bennett McDowell with TradersCoach.com, and today is May 25th, 2022. So we've got a Memorial Day weekend coming up. So Monday, the markets are closed. So I wish everybody a very, very good and long weekend. All right, so let's go ahead quickly and get through some of the administrational things to cover here. If you have questions, feel free to type those into the questions box in our webinar software. That's one of the benefits of coming live. If you watch the recording, of course, you can't do that. But if you're live here, definitely ask any questions you have. And, a lot of people use our software. A lot of people have our courses. So it doesn't matter if the question is software related or course related or just general trading related. That's the purpose of having this here. And it's a really great benefit, especially if you're new to us and just starting out, because this is something we do every week on Wednesdays, and it's basically an area for you to come to get some further education and clarity. All right, so first thing I have to do, because all the recordings here are put on our YouTube channel, so if you ever want to watch a recording, go to our YouTube channel and then go to the playlists, and then you'll see client support there. So that's where you check, and you want to view all the client support webinars we've done. Make sure you click on view all, and they're all in there. Okay, so first thing we have to tell you, of course, is that when we trade the markets, we work in a realm of probability, so there's no guarantees. And a lot of times, people will come into the markets, they may be new and they don't use risk control or money they can afford to risk in the markets, and then that's when they have trouble. So please make sure you kind of practice a little bit in the market. There's a lot of simulated accounts out there that you can open up, like NinjaTrader has a simulator in it that works great, so you can practice and work on your risk control, and then when you have your edge figured out in there, then you can start trading with money. The only thing I would suggest is, before you do any of that, check with your financial advisor or whoever manages your money to be sure short-term trading is suitable for you. It's a little different than investing, and it is possible to lose some or all your money trading the markets and even investing in the markets. All right, so you do have to be careful with that. And like I said, please do it with money you can afford to risk and know how to do risk control. And if you need help with that, that's what we're all about. Okay, so come see us. All right, I've written several books, and that book on the far right will answer a lot of your questions on money management. So there you have it. All right, so basically it's a concise book on money management. I call it the Cliff Notes of money management. My book on the far left, which is a trader's money management system, the white colored book, is a more in-depth and thorough study of money management. But the money management for traders on the far right basically takes concepts in that book and simplifies them. It's an easy read. It's an inexpensive book. There's no excuse now for anyone out there not to be using risk control and money management in their trading, because that book is not an expensive book and it's ready to go. We also have a variety of different software tools. I'm a big advocate that you have to have an edge in the markets. You have to have software tools that you can rely on. You have to use good tools in order to eliminate throwing darts at a dartboard when it comes to trading the financial markets. And so we feel we have the best tools on the market, and we have a variety of charting software tools and a variety of scanners, and then of course a variety of risk control. Trading the financial markets, picture it almost like a trading pie. You have to have all the slices of the trading pie mastered. What is one slice? Entries and exits. What's another slice? Hey, scanning the markets. You got to know how to scan. What's the other slice? Risk control. What's another slice? Psychology. A lot of people will have a good system, but the problem is they have a hard time implementing it because of psychology. Fear comes in, and I don't care how long you've been trading, I still experience times where I want to scale out of a certain part of my position because of certain feelings that I feel the market's going to reverse and things like that. And that's where you have to have something with structure to keep you going, okay? That's where software tools come in. So on this upper row here is all our charting software. And then we have the ART system, which looks at high probability price patterns and fractals in the market. Then we have indicators that sit at the bottom of the chart, like the OWL, which we use for momentum and Elliott wave counting. We don't usually like to go long on a trade unless the OWL gives us a bullish confirmation. Likewise for a short trade. And then we have a PTF indicator at the bottom. And the PTF, basically, every time the market makes a high or a low, I look at the PTF and see if because it tells us with a 75% accuracy rate, which is really good, whether the market's going to return and go either lower or higher, depending on the reading of the PTF. And sometimes we get a nice retracement off a good PTF reading that allows us to do a scalp trade. So it's really helpful for that. And then we like to also draw trend lines in the market. We use these for points of support sometimes. We also use these for areas of scaling out. And we have an automated trend line master, which draws trend lines on the chart, as well as puts an indicator at the bottom that highlights what the current trend is. And then we have an ERI indicator, which measures fear and greed. And again, this is an indicator at the bottom of the chart when excessive fear or excessive greed, okay, comes into play, or when excessive fear, whatever it is, and any trend comes into play. So even in channeling markets, you can have fear or greed. All right, and then we have a whole host of scanners here. And we start out with our brand new one called the multiple time frame scanner. Now, the multiple time frame scanner is brand new, and it's due to be released on or about June 15th. It's totally up to the programmer when he feels that is ready for release. So we've already offered this at a pre-release discount. So if you've gotten that, congratulations, because you won't see that price again. That's a great price. But the reason we do that is because the release dates can change a little bit. Sometimes the programmer needs more time. And so that particular scanner, we give a great price on for the pre-release because of the flexibility you're going to need to have for that to get released. So the multiple time frame scanner actually is really cool. Basically, it looks at 3 time frames of your choosing. It has the flexibility to adjust that, and tells you on the 3 time frames of one market, for example, and you can put as many markets up there as you want, of whether there's a good possibility of a longer bullish trade based on multiple time frame analysis. So it's really good. And then we have the trade confirmer here, which basically looks at the OWL, PTF, and TLM indicators that you have here, okay, and gives you a quick summary of when they're in sync. So that's kind of nice to have. And then the turbo scanner here gives you all the ART signals on a scanning basis. And then we have the Elliott wave scanner that looks for waves 3 and 5, which are your big impulsive waves. And then finally at the bottom, we have 3 different types of software tools that deal with risk control. And that, of course, is the Trader's Assistant, which is our record keeping system. Got a lot of awards at stocks and commodities over the years. And basically, it is a great record keeper, but the real key on this is that it is also a trade analyzer. So it gives you a lot of statistics on your trade that you may not be aware of. So that's really important. And then the risk to reward calculator is what we use for not only risk to reward, but to calculate trade size. And then that leads us to just the trade size calculator that calculates trade size as well. So you can upgrade from here to here if you want. And there's an upgrade price on our store, our website store. So that's the software tools that we have. I want to take a little time going over that. All right, so you kind of having a good idea of what's going on with that. Now I'm seeing a comment in here from Aggie. Says, Gene, I'm still waiting to get the software set up with Ninja. Now, Aggie, where are you on that? Now,
I'm going to call Aggie right now.
Okay, good. And Aggie, we have a software installer by the name of Mark. All right, and Mark has a link that you can schedule your session with. So when you bought our software, you should have gotten some form of email to schedule that. Now, if you bought the multiple time frame scanner, that's not ready yet. So you're gonna have to wait on that. But if you bought the other software, then that certainly can be installed. So definitely, I guess Gene will give you a call on that, but there should have been a link that was sent to you automatically, all right, that gets you set up, okay? So definitely work on that. All right, another thing on Mark. Mark is really good. He's our software engineer, and he comes on and gets you all set up with the software. The only thing we ask everybody to do, when we make, if you really need help with this, he can help you with this. But he's a busy guy for one thing, and a lot of times he'll go onto people's computers and they will not have Windows properly updated, and that's really not his job. Okay, as somebody that owns the computer, it really should update them. Okay, so that's really your job. Also, too, on the trading platform, it really is your responsibility to download the trading platform you want to use that's compatible with our software, and then learn how to connect it to your data. And if you have trouble, work with the charting software's vendor. Okay, that's kind of out of our realm of what we really are supposed to be doing with Mark. Mark's job is to go on your computer and install the TradersCoach.com software, period. All right, he's not there to install your Windows updates. He's not there to make sure you know how to use your charting platform, because the vendors of the charting platforms have tutorials and will work with you in getting you set up. That's their job. All right, our job is to make sure you get set up and make sure the software is working for the TradersCoach.com software. Okay, so that's something kind of important, I think, to talk about and make that distinction. If you absolutely need help with connecting, Mark knows a little bit about the basics of that, but it can get pretty involved, because a lot of it, for example, you have to have a certain version of Ninja installed to connect to interactive brokers, and it can get kind of involved. And you have to have interactive brokers TWS installed, the right version of that installed. And so we'd rather have you spend the time working with Ninja and whoever your data provider is and get that set up before Mark even appears on your computer, okay? That way he can just install the software, check it, and move on, okay? So keep that in mind, all right? He's really great. He does a great job, and no, I've never had any complaints with him. All right, so let's move on here. All right, so we're going to have a webinar, by the way, this afternoon called Wednesday Night Live, and we're going to be talking about multiple time frame analysis. So if you're kind of interested in seeing how we basically analyze a market using our software tools on 3 different time frames at the same time, then definitely you're going to want to attend that particular session. And Gene, if you wouldn't mind, could you put that link up for tonight's Wednesday Night Live so everybody has that available? All right, and you can just do that in the chat area when you can. Gene's also put a link up for our books on Amazon, so if you're interested in that money management book or any of the others, you can click on that and it'll take you right to our Amazon page. All right, so let's get on. Any questions? Let me see first. We've got quite a few people here, so let's see if we have any questions out there. How many people are using NinjaTrader? How many? Tell me what platforms you're using, first of all. Let's do it. Let's do that. Now, I know you can't see the questions window, so I'll just kind of elaborate as people type in. So let me know what platform you're using, charting platform. I got somebody here using TradeStation 9.5 still. 9.5 was not a bad platform for TradeStation. A lot of people still use that. Of course, they've come out with 10 now. All right, so that's available as well. All right, NT8. Anybody still using NT7 out of curiosity? If you are, please, you're going to want to switch over to NT8, okay? Because I think I imagine at some point they'll discontinue servicing for NT7. I would imagine that for maybe 9.5 on TradeStation at some point. All right, for a lot of people using a combination of Ninja, NT8, and TradeStation. Yeah, good to know. Okay, good to know. How about multi-charts? Anybody using multi-charts out there? Okay, 2. And MT4 and 5? Those are mostly forex. Okay, good. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to share a little story today that I think is really kind of interesting. We have a pond in our backyard, and we have too many goldfish. You know, we have some koi in there, we have a bunch of turtles, but too many goldfish. And the other day, a heron, a blue heron, showed up, and they're big birds. They have long beaks, you know, and what they do is they pluck fish out of a pond and eat them whole. It's pretty interesting to watch. So we had one show up, and I'm in San Diego, all right? So it showed up in our pond and kind of in the mountains. So it's kind of interesting. We don't see them that often, but when they do, you can't miss them because they're big birds. What fascinated me about him, and what I wanted to share with you, is the amount of patience he had while he waited to strike. First, he flew in and landed probably 15 feet from the pond, stood there and watched all the activity. And there's, you know, we may have, I don't know, 50 goldfish, 50 or 100 goldfish in there. And they're pretty good size. They're about 3 inches big, so they're pretty good size. Way too many. My wife and I were talking about what we were going to do with those, take them someplace, let them go in a bigger pond or something. But in any case, he watched these goldfish. And then he methodically and slowly and accurately soft stepped his way to about 5 feet from the pond, and then stood there and crouched down just enough so I don't think the fish could really see he was there. And then we have a bush and some rock, and then he moved over by the bush, so he kind of blended in with the bush and got about a foot away from the edge of the pond. And then he stopped and crouched and looked. Fish were at the bottom, but a couple of them started coming up to the top, and he waited and he waited. And I'm not kidding you, he might have waited 15 minutes. It seemed like forever. Then all of a sudden, boom, he struck. And I've never seen him miss. He's been back about 10 times. I've never seen him miss a fish. He's always done it. But what I thought about that is kind of like in trading. How many of you, especially if you've day traded, even a short-term time frame, we wait until we strike, until the setup is exactly correct. And it kind of hammered home for me again the ability of success in trading is waiting and having the patience to wait for the right setup. And when you're using a set of software tools, you kind of have an idea of what you're looking for in terms of your entry, but sometimes you have to wait. And then when you add multiple time frames like I have up here, you really have to wait even longer because you have to have it set up just right on all 3 time frames. And I thought that was a great analogy with the heron because it was amazing to me to see that actually in nature. The fact that he wasn't quick, but he was so patient that it reminded me of basically trading the markets, waiting for that right setup before striking. Does that make sense to everybody? Because it's hard to do sometimes. It's hard to have that patience to wait for the right setup. So I think it was a really great example of kind of hitting home on in trading the markets, not to be too impulsive. Wait for your right setup, and then when it's right, you strike and you move fast. but the preparation is in the wait. So I wanted to share that because I think there's a lot of times, especially when you're day trading a short time frame, you know, like we got a 1 minute time frame clicking along here on the MES, and sometimes you just need to wait it out until you get that right setup. And the thing is that even on a 1 minute time frame, you have to wait sometimes 30 minutes, maybe 40. I've waited as long as an hour and a half sometimes, and that's a 1 minute time frame. So it's kind of interesting. Now, I do tell people if they have a tendency to be compulsive and they really have a hard time, trade even a shorter time frame. It'll keep you busier more often, but you're still waiting for the right setup. So it's kind of interesting. So if you miss the downturn here, for example, we've got a green PTF here, but we've got this still red. So we're starting to see a little bit of a turnaround, but it's not quite there yet. So we got to be patient. We don't have a bullish pyramid either on the 1 minute time frame, which is my primary time frame. So you got to wait. Just like that herring, wait. Wait until the time is right. So don't overtrade. A lot of people tend to overtrade, and I think that's kind of an important lesson. The other thing I want to look at today is I wanted to take a look at the cryptos real quick. And I'll start by looking at the ETFs and the cryptos. And let me go and show you GBTC, which is a popular ETF for the cryptos. And a couple things of interest here. If we look at the 3 time frames, we notice that we made a new low recently in the last week or so. All right, we took out this pyramid and went lower. Red owl here, okay, and green is very close to going red. So we're gonna have to watch that. If we get a bounce off this in a significant way and get another green pyramid, we'll consider it. We want to wait for this to turn green though. Don't take a long trade if you can on a red owl unless you half the trade size because it's more risky. All right. If the green PTF holds and we get a rebound off this, then this could be possibly our target with a PTF high here. But don't buy yet because it's still coming down. We have this red, we have this red, we have a little bit of movement. You might get a little pull up, but still things are bearish on the short-term time frames. So again, like the herring, we want to be patient on this and see. And it may turn out this thing goes low, low, and turns this red. And if that's the case, then we'll probably not trade GBTC at all. So hopefully if you're in it to the long side, you're out already, had plenty of time to get out. And waiting for that possible long trade, but maybe not, might not turn out. So don't be in such a rush on that one as well, okay? All right, let's see what else. I wanted to take a look at a couple of the others. Here's the ETHE, Ethereum Trust. Let's see what that shows. So all these are pretty bearish right now. Doesn't mean it can't turn around, but you got to wait for it to turn around. You can't just jump in. We are starting to see a little bit of divergence coming, but you know, this is the low up here, and you do not have a low here yet. So technically you do not have divergence yet. This has got to be lower. You do have it here a little bit. This takes off even more, and this owl goes deeper than this one, then this will be the new wave 3. So I'll have to wait to see. All right. Yellow PTF is neutral. You can go long or short on a yellow. That's the indicator here in the middle. But you still have a very strong bearish pyramid stance here and a red owl, so you can't go long. Short, you'd be in good shape. Long, not so good. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else? Okay. I kind of just wanted to cover the main thing I wanted to talk about is have patience when you trade. Wait for your setup because it's really important. And it
I have
is
a little something.
sometimes tedious. Who's out there?
It's Jean.
Yes.
I just posted a link for Wednesday Night Live because tonight we're covering multiple time frame analysis, and I think it's something that everybody's going to want to see.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Aggie, on the overall markets, we have a service called the More and the Yummy service that we spend a great deal of time. You may be interested in that. A great deal of time on that. We're close to some key levels of support on the Dow. The NASDAQ has already sold off much more than the other markets. We don't think a bottom is in yet on either one of those markets. We do think we're going to have some bullishness come back into the markets, maybe by the end of the week. We have an inflection point of around, I guess, what, 33,000. So I would expect the markets at some point maybe to get back up there. And then we're going to watch it and see how much further it'll come down. It has to go below a key level of support we're watching, and it hasn't done that yet. It came close, came within like 120 points on Friday last week, but it didn't do it. So once that support level's taken, then pretty much I think we'll see a top in the market, probably that will be the top for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't think the market will get above that if that support level is hit. Now, we've already recommended a short position on the Dow and the NASDAQ. So there's a long-term short on the Dow that we like and suggested a month or so ago. It was an early entry. So, you know, trade size is important when you do that in case the market reverses. But that's kind of where that's at now. But you may be interested in something like the Moore report. You should talk to Gene about that, because if you're interested in the market direction, that's a good one. Also, we have the Oracle too, which is more of a real-time tech service type of thing where I keep you advised of when certain levels are broken. So we got a whole bunch of market-related services, subscriptions available, and you probably are going to need those more than ever in the next year, I'd say. So we're on it, so to speak. We're definitely on it, but that's my overall take. Oh, my pleasure. I think a big sell-off is coming. It's not if, I think it's when. And certain support levels have to be broken for that to be answered. So I think it's coming. It's just things have to happen in a little bit more of a dramatic way for us to feel comfortable that we have a big bearish trend on the long-term charts in place. We have all the ingredients right now that is happening, but certain support levels have to be broken because it is possible you could get a rebound if those levels are not broken. The market can make one more high and then sell off. All right, so again, we're having patience, that word again, patience, to see if that level is broken before we really call for a more definitive top in place. All right, well, I guess that's it. I think I've answered everybody's questions. So listen, I want to thank everybody for coming. Hopefully had a good time here today. And again, I wish everybody a really happy long weekend. Enjoy Memorial Day. And Gene, anything else you want to add before we go?
No, nothing except we'd love to see you at Wednesday Night Live. I think the multiple time frame is a terrific topic. So feel free to look in the chat area and use that link to register for tonight. And other than that, just have a great holiday weekend.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you back here next Wednesday. Have a good one.
Serving traders worldwide since 1998, TradersCoach.com provides educational services for traders and investors alike. We have developed trading software to help traders of every level improve their skills. Our site is dedicated to providing you with all the resources, software, and educational material you need to achieve your trading goals. It is because of our years of experience, attention to detail, and our exceptional customer service that TradersCoach.com is the right choice for you. Call us today.